Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Say Hello to This Together. The intent originally was to make this a webinar, so excuse the tech gods had a different plan. So if you can, please turn off your video and press mute on your button unless you already muted. Again, I'm Paul here in San Francisco. I would love to know who else is joining us and where you're coming from. So go ahead and just pop a little message in the chat box. Hey, Mark from DC. Greg and Shep here in San Francisco. Christopher in San Francisco. Hey, Ziad. Em and Pat. How are you guys? Andrea. Luke in Maternal Heights. Hey, Steve, San Francisco. Serena, Michigan. Hi, Rose. You guys, my sister's here. Hey, Mary in Reno. Miami. Hi, Victoria. Hey, Gerardo. Walker. Thanks, you guys, for joining. So nice to, well, imagine your faces in front of me, but seeing your names is making me feel really nice. So welcome again. So before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge how fortunate we truly are to be able to spend this time with ourselves today, right here, right now. While you and I are able to be in the comforts of home, there are millions of people out there fighting for their rights simply to breathe, simply to jog in their neighborhoods, to bird watch in a park, simple things. The world continues to whirl around us until we take pause to notice it. We also need to notice the feelings that come with witnessing these injustices that happen in our communities. Now is the time to get a little uncomfortable in being inside our feelings so we can ignite positive societal change in the world around us. We need to notice. We need to question everything. We need to fight against and dismantle structural and systemic racism, homophobia, transphobia, and white privilege. Feel those feelings. Get uncomfortable with them. Really feel them deep inside. That's what we're hoping to do during this episode. So it's often the simplest but hardest truth to feel the thing. A lot has happened in your life over the last couple of days. Seriously, the last couple of days have been insane. And I'm sure it's given you a lot to think about. But do you feel truly connected with yourself inside? As of late, I've been going about many of my days not feeling embodied, as if things are just going on around me. I'm feeling disconnected and not in control. Today, we'll explore how we might move more into an embodied experience, connected to yourself and the world around you. If you joined us last week, you'll recall the soft and melodic voice that is the Mark Magellan. It's the smoothest voice you'll hear, I assure you. I'd like to bring him back now to share a piece of spoken word. Mark.
BJ, if you all want, please close your eyes, or you can keep them open. Picture the beginning, an impossible space 14 billion years ago. Peace, or at least a stillness, a quiet. Then picture a violent explosion, a motion that evolved and changed. Protons and neutrons would fuse to make a home for the stars. And then a gradual sleep of peace would produce clouds of helium and hydrogen gas nearly 300,000 years later. Now, see it. A light in the corner of your eye, follow it. Where does it go? Does it take you home? Watch it as it flickers and shakes. It fills the whole space. There, our sun. Hung aloft in the night, our eternal light, bright star. If only we were steadfast as you are. The planets surround it, ornaments that dangle in a slow dance. By chance, they spin and whirl like paint on a canvas. Spinning and swinging on this spiral of divinity. And there she is, Mother Earth. What gave birth to us all, the blue, enough to soothe the most tired of hearts. The moving waters that start their priest-like task. Days that won't last, but shudder and shimmer like candles in the black. Follow the roundness. Where does it go? Does it take you home? Now find your city, call it anywhere. Buildings stand erect, our sun it reflects against the window pane, and the pace on the pavement beats rhythm into our streets. Every detail you see, it's all beneath you. People everywhere, walking and dancing and drinking it away. They fall in love and out again in a day. A little child picks a yellow flower, the glory of an hour, the splendor. Her mother looks down with grace. Their energy, you want it, to feel it, but like the tides, you drift apart and flow inside. Follow it. Where does it go? Does it take you home? You are the feeling. You want to be close to them, but you are here. You are the feeling. The quiet, the sounds, the dust swirling around in space so far, the guts of the stars, the blue, the calm, the grace of the mom, the pulse. They are you, the heartbeat. Little dots on this earth, but since birth, you've always been the feeling. Say hello and breathe.
It's pretty smooth, Mark. Thanks again for sharing. If you're just joining again, just a reminder to go ahead and turn off your cameras and put yourself on mute. Again, thanks again, Mark, for sharing that piece of spoken word. So today we're going to talk about feeling what we're feeling. I'll say it again. It's just going to be where we're going to be. So I asked Mark to share that piece because when I first read it aloud, I found it took me on this vivid journey, starting in this like abstract corner of the universe. And as the piece moves closer and closer, we get closer to our immediate reality. But I really connected to that third to last line. I'm not sure if you recall it. It was, since birth, you've been the feeling. The fact is, feeling doesn't require you to do anything. It's a paradox. We're born with everything we need to feel. We are the ones that put in place procedures that prevent us from truly communing with our emotions. This is the point in which we all have to ask ourselves, what are we to make of all this? How do we show up here? We'll use the next 40 minutes or so to step into our bodies and make contact with ourselves. If you're tuning in for the first time, Say Hello to This Together is a 5-part series focused on the moment here right now and the experiences we're having individually. We hope to help you walk through some of these feelings in a productive way, in a way to come out the other side more beautifully together. It's brought to you by the Anywhere Collective. We're a group of artists, designers, storytellers, and activists, and we all believe that any space can be infused with magic. Our focus is mostly on physical space and in-person interaction, but given the times, we are reimagining the spaces where we show up. Last week, Mark led us through an exercise on creating space for our feelings. By taking time to list some real and abstract roles that we play in our lives, we're able to make space to focus on the roles that bring us joy and ones that make us feel a little more heavy, and just noticing them. So recently I've been trying to make sense of what's going on around me by building awareness of what's happening on inside, by doing a body scan. If you're familiar, this should be pretty simple. If not, we'll walk through this together. This practice can be expanded and shortened as you wish, but for now, we'll take some time really going inward. And the essence of it is to slowly bring attention to each individual part of your body as a way of practicing mindfulness and connecting with the physical parts. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video to just minimize distraction. I invite you to close your eyes if you wish. So let's begin by allowing yourself to get comfortable. Wherever you are, if you're in bed or in a chair, make sure your head is supported. If it makes sense, your feet on the floor. I invite you to lengthen your spine, stretch your body a little longer. Take up a little more space than you did before. Rest your hands comfortably. Feel free to close your eyes again or keep them open with a soft gaze. Throughout this meditation, if you get distracted, just notice and return to the breath. Breath is the bridge back to the body, and you'll always know where to find it. We'll be taking big, deep breaths, breathing in fully, expanding our chest, bringing that air into the belly, and exhaling slowly. We'll do 2 to 3 breaths together. So we'll go in through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. In through the nose, feel that air go through your nostrils, down your throat. Feel that chest, and exhale. One more. And out. Now allow the breath to return to its natural rhythm. Just feel the weight of your body. Maybe you can sense gravity. Notice how the body feels right now. Maybe you notice stillness, restlessness, whether there's heaviness or lightness. Begin to let go of noises around you. Start to shift your attention from outside to inside yourself. If sounds begin to distract, simply notice it and come back to your breath. Give your mind permission to let go of anything you were doing before or need to do later today. And thank your mind for allowing you to take this time to feel the rest of your body. We'll now begin the body scan, starting at the top of the head. Gently and slowly scan down. Keep a slow, even pace. We'll be doing this together. And just notice the different sensations as you scan down. What feels comfortable? What's uncomfortable? Not trying to change or even make meaning of the sensations. We're just observing, watching as your mind moves down through the body. Observe all the sensations around the scalp and the face. Can you feel the scalp muscles? I invite you to relax your eyelids, unclench your jaw, see if you can relax your cheek muscles, and let your tongue just float in your mouth. Notice the movement of the air as you breathe in and out of the nostrils or mouth. As you exhale, soften any tension you may be holding. Allow thoughts to come and go. If you get lost in a thought, just let go of thinking. Bring your attention back to the body. Continue to breathe and scan down to the neck, throat, and shoulders. This is an area where we often have tension. See if you can relax the vocal cords. Stay with the sensations. It can be anything. As you breathe, imagine the tension rolling off your shoulders. Take your attention down to the chest and heart region. Notice your heartbeat. Is it beating quickly or slow? Do you feel the chest rising and falling as you breathe in and out? Now bring your attention to the hands and fingertips. Where are they? Feel them against your body or the furniture. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the sensations in your hands. Let's now bring your awareness up into the arms. Do you notice a difference between the left arm and the right arm? No need to analyze, just notice it. Now scan down your spine, one vertebra at a time. We tend to hold a lot of tension and energy in the back. You may become aware of sensations in the muscle, the body temperature, or parts that make contact with furniture or the bed. Arrive at the stomach. Is there a gurgling? Is it digest your last meal? Is it asking for more? Notice the belly rising or falling with each breath. Does it feel warm or cool? The stomach's our core. It's an origin point for information. When you're ready, shift your attention to the legs, from the thighs, the knees, the calves, then down to the ankles. Observe the sensations and notice the bones and muscles in the legs that help support you. Is there any tenderness or aches, or stiffness? Notice how all sensations shift and change moment to moment. Notice how no sensation is permanent. Your only task here is to observe and accept sensations just as they are. As you continue to scan down towards the toes, give them a little wiggle. Do you feel them against your socks or bed sheets? Perhaps you don't feel anything at all. That's fine too. Allow yourself to feel the sensation of not feeling anything. In your own time, take one more full deep breath. taking in all the energy that you observed within your body. See if you can sip a little more air into your belly. And as you exhale fully, slowly, feel free to release with the sound. Now gently opening your eyes again. And as you become fully alert, slowly bring movement to the entire body. I invite you to set the intention that this practice of building awareness will benefit everyone you come in contact with today. Give that body a little shake, a little wiggle. So how was that? Was it difficult or was it easy? If you've done it before, this may be super comfortable for you. And if not, that's okay. Was there anything that surprised you about different parts of your body? Have you drifted back to a part of your body that may want some more attention? That's totally cool. I invite you to take some time later today to give that part of your body a little more TLC, whether it be a foot massage or a back rub, a bath, or simply a nourishing meal. Anything that feels right for you. Even when we don't feel a sensation in our body, there's still space there. And I want you to know that you don't need to fill it. The goal of that practice is to place yourself within space, anywhere, as long as it feels safe for you. It's about moving closer to your body. This is about what you're feeling and how you're feeling. Use this practice to feel your breath, to get closer to your heart. Ask yourself where it takes you. If you're like me, you may experience some trouble connecting with your own body, especially with all the chaos and personal hardships that are happening during this pandemic. And some may argue long before. For me, at least, I've been struggling with maintaining inner calm during this time. It seems I'm being dealt one bad card after another. From heartbreak to job loss, this time in pandemica has been exhausting and it feels unstable. And over the last couple of months, I've been mourning the life I once had, grieving all the comforts of connecting intimately with a partner, dancing with friends in queer spaces, visiting my family down in SoCal, collaborating with coworkers in an office space, going out to dinner. I can go on. All the things we might do as a means to move past pain. These are some of the simple pleasures that I took for granted. What are some of the things that you've taken for granted? If you're comfortable, feel free to add them in the chat. If not, no worries. But I invite you to feel comfortable to do so. Christopher, my basic livelihood. Yep. Sophia, hanging with my friends. I feel you. Hugs for sure. Greg, Josh, and strangers, totally. Mark, my health, proximity to your brother. All the hugs and touch. I feel you guys. Yes. Hugging strangers is a pretty cool thing and sounds so far away from what we can do right now. Being able to easily get on a plane, totally, Tara, I hear you. Being able to travel, seeing people we love, being around our grandparents, our elders, Scott, colliding with people on the streets, having a transformational conversation that leads to a hug and then a new friend. Dancing in public spaces, Victoria, totally. So my focus these days has been around centering myself in order to build awareness of all the things that happen to bring me joy amidst all the madness. In the darkest of times, it's important to recall the light. Where the darkness brings numbing cold, the light can bring warmth and hope for the future. So to build on Mark's spoken word and the body scan we just did, I'd now like to add in our connection with the people around us. It's clear we're all just pining for this type of connection and touch. Whether you're fortunate enough to share this time with someone physically or virtually, we're all grieving a part of ourselves we once knew. And for this next part, I want to introduce you to a really special human, my dear friend and collaborator, Scott Shigeoka. Scott's done a lot of work in healing through storytelling and designing experiences for social impact. He's here to share something very personal. Scott, thanks so much again for agreeing to be here with us.
Yeah, so I was looking at all of these photos and videos of, you know, the streets being really activated, and I couldn't help but feel really deep grief for, you know, the people in my life that have been affected by racist systems, namely my dad, who went to prison when I was 11. And I was thinking about this Angela Davis quote where she says that prisons do not disappear problems, they disappear human beings. And the practice of disappearing vast numbers of people from poor, immigrant, and racially marginalized communities has literally become big business. So when I was 11, my dad went to prison and there was no rehabilitation. And the thing about prison, for anyone that's been affected by it, you know that your loved ones are deeply affected by it. There's this great trauma. It also affects the person that's in prison. My dad died shortly after he was released. And I think that a lot of that is because of the immense pain and the immense trauma that prison puts on a person's system. So I wrote a poem many years after he died, you know, as I was working through grief, because it was a complex relationship. And I'm going to read that poem for y'all right now. It's called Dear Father. Dear Father, I'm sorry for the times I didn't show up during visitation hours, the days you probably looked forward to the most. I was trying to run away, telling myself, if I didn't go, well then, maybe I couldn't get hurt. It was a defense mechanism to protect me during the toughest years of my childhood. The reason why my 11-year-old self shows up in front of me unannounced, with wiry framed glasses and his blue stretchy shorts that sit above his knees, reaching out his tiny hands at the older me, pleading for time and space. Dear Father, what did you think about and how did you spend your time? Did you read any books? Did you work as a cook? Did your spirit feel confined? I have so many questions about those years of your life I could have asked you when you were around, but I couldn't find the time. And then you died, leaving me with the unanswerable question, why? Dear Father, I remember our last phone call. I was so afraid of your death, the end. And you told me not to worry, you said. I won't be in pain, I'll be at peace. And as I spread your ashes on the beach, I thought, well, Dad, now you're finally free. Your spirit no longer restricted to your physical body, transcends beyond this world, stretches into infinity. And although you're no longer here, you never did leave me. And, you know, I wrote that 10 years after my dad died. I was actually in Iceland, and it would be the first time that I would re-enter prison again since I last saw him. A prison called Litlahraun, which is the biggest prison in Iceland, which has a population of 83, and it's the biggest prison in Iceland. And you know, I run a residency there every year, and I had never actually written about my dad or never put the pieces together that maybe the artist residency was in the prison because of what I was working through with my relationship with my dad. That year when I wrote it, we actually didn't get to go inside of the prison because there was this paperwork malfunction, but we still went on and did the performance. And we attached these huge speakers to Helga's house, who's this elder 78-year-old woman that lives closest to the prison. And we asked our friends who were the guards inside of the prison to let them know that we did it. And they appeared in the windows. It was in winter, so it was really dark, and all of these silhouettes were illuminated by the windows and the lights of the prison. And I swear I saw my dad in one of them as I was reading this poem for the first time. And it just made me realize that, you know, when we're grieving, when we're working through our own grief, if we've lost a loved one, or if we're feeling the collective grief, like what's happening in the world right now, that making art and, you know, that is a place of healing for us. It's a way to work through whatever it is that we need to work through, or feel whatever it is we need to feel. So that's my invitation to you, is to make art, to feel, to make art to move through, and to make art to remember.
Thank you, Scott. That was beautiful and heartfelt, super profound. I really appreciate this vulnerable piece that you wrote, not just to your father, but to your inner child, really connected with yourself. It's clear you're a masterful storyteller, and it's awesome how you can really create this connection with your deeper self and experience these tough experiences that you have in life. And you do it with such curiosity and as a way to build a bridge to your most authentic self. So that was really special, and I really thank you again for joining. Whew. So the process of connecting intimately with all parts of ourselves can be a deeply challenging yet healing endeavor. I'd now like to use this energy to lead you all through one last activity before turning it over to Christopher to close out the episode. So take a piece of paper and a pen. If you have one handy, if not, just go ahead and grab one really quickly. We'll take the paper and we'll fold it in half. And on one side, we're gonna write high, and the other side, we're gonna write low. Like so. Super simple. So things that made you feel heavy or depressed, sad, or even angry, go ahead and put them here on the low side. For anything that was uplifting or soul nurturing, made you happy and joyful, go ahead and put them in the high side. Alternatively, you can put a little happy face to kind of ground you in that space, and a sad face on the other. Whatever they are, just write them down, no particular order, and they can be in any order and as specific or as broad as you wish. I'm gonna let you guys have some time to write and think. So now that you've had some time to write and think, go ahead and pick one of each that you might feel comfortable sharing with the group. Have you picked one high and one low moment? I invite you to take this time to share those two moments with the group together. And I can begin. One particular low that brought me down, as I mentioned before, was losing my job. Having a job was this pillar of security in the middle of this kind of time of uncertainty. I had a paycheck. I could just do everything I needed to do to keep me sane and safe here at home. But a truly high moment is actually being here with you today, leading this episode, collaborating with some really great friends to make something great of this time, and challenging the way I use my voice and step into my creativity. Can you see how those two moments might be linked? Maybe the two moments that you selected might be linked as well, or maybe very, very different, and that's okay. What are some of yours? Would you mind sharing them in the chat box? And again, I know this can be tough, stepping into your feelings, but I assure you this is a safe space. And when we share, it can be very healing for others. Mary's high. The web of love and connection formed by my friends and chosen family. Truly, truly real. Hello. The immense pain and suffering around me. Yes, I feel that. It's hard to make sense of it. Greg, a high. Taking long walks and exploring the neighborhood. And low is job uncertainty and loss. I feel you for sure. Again, no judgments here. If you feel comfortable sharing, please do. And if not, that's okay. Just sit with that. Josh, a high. Connecting deeper with a smaller group of people. And a low. Sheltering in place alone and feeling isolated at times. Ricardo, low is feeling my job is not purposeful, is disconnecting and feeling stuck in it. Luke, a high is social distance nature adventures with friends. Indeed. Mark with a low, seeing again how divided the US is, why we can't just really rally together and love and learn and heal and listen. Tara, hi, a successful end to a project I sold. A low, my nervousness about being in a crowd, meaning I didn't get to go out to protest yesterday. Rose, a high, getting to share this virtual experience with so many people is real. A low is fear of going out in the future. Scott, a high, being in love. I'm in love, I'm in love. Such a wild ecstasy. Low is sitting with the sadness of my mom being alone, not sure how to help her feel touched, affirmed, and not alone. Thank you all for sharing. This means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to everyone else here as well. Mark with a high, to love, saying how my brother and his partner have grown through love and how wonderful it is to see them. Em and Pat, a low is having a patient die. It must be so difficult. Not of COVID, but unexpectedly. She was 87 and I was the last person to speak with her, to tell her things would be all right. It made me feel totally helpless, naked, inadequate, in direct relation. I felt the power of life, the movement of my body and mind through space and time. These are amazing. Thank you all for sharing. Gerardo, it's a high. Connecting with those who are also seeking to foster connection. I'm glad you're here with us and feeling supported and supporting each other through this time. through laughter, tears, and feeling together. So I just want you to think to yourself, what do you recall about these two moments? Who were you with? What was going on around you? What did it feel like? Victoria's low, confronting my pain and emotions head on without distraction. And a high is confronting my pain and emotions head on without distraction. I love that. The point I'm hoping to highlight here is that life is dialectic. We live in dualities. We experience instances of contrast throughout. In moments of chaos, we seek structure and order. In silence, we seek sound and music. In isolation, we seek connection and touch. We have to feel the lowest of lows in order to appreciate the highest of highs. The closer we feel to the experiences that are happening within us, the closer we can be with each other and our communities, the closer we can be with our voices and the feelings that are within to enact change and really create a beautiful world together. These are all gifts. So I'd like to thank you again, once again, for joining today. I know you have many other things you could be doing with your Sunday, whether it be sleeping or hanging out with a friend, virtually, of course. But I'm glad you're able to share this time with me today. I hope you'll be able to join us for the next episode as Becky Lee leads us through an experience on letting it go. And if you've been listening intently, I hope you've noticed the original sounds woven into the start of this episode by my dear friend and fellow collaborator and Anywhere Collective artist, Christopher Drello. I'd like to now pass it over to Christopher to fill your ears with some more live music to close out the remainder of our time. I hope you'll appreciate how he pulls in the sounds of our everyday in order to experience the world in a new way. Thank you again for joining. Please take care of yourselves and take care of each other.